At one point in your life, you may have wondered why your parents always had to work and not stay home. So did I. As a child, I remember my parents taking me to help them in the garden after the shift was done at their job. The contribution and hard work of my parents were the result of two factors in their lives. These two factors that led to their contribution were the Vietnam War and the welfare during the early 80s and late 90s. Today I am going to explain how my parents contributed to make our lives better. In order to understand how this contribution started, I will talk about my parents' hardships during the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, my parents became refugees, in which they escaped persecutions by leaving behind their homeland, their family, their friends, and everything that they knew. Many of the Hmong people refuged in Thailand and immigrated to different parts of the world, which was a sign to them that they should follow them in hopes that they will escape persecution and find more opportunities. By doing so, my parents immigrated to Thailand and became refugees at Bang Vinai refugee camp. As stated before, they became refugees. The purpose of doing so was to escape the communists in Laos and immigrate to America. My parents got married and they filed their immigration papers and came to the United States in hopes that they will find more opportunities, escape the persecution, genocide from the communists, meet and reunite with family, and make sure that their children would have a better life in the United States. The aftermath of the Vietnam War was just one of the events that led to their contribution. Now let's look at their lives during the 80s and 90s and the hardships that they faced during this time period. During the 80s, my parents were just teenagers. When they came here, they just landed in Appleton, Wisconsin, in which they attended high school and were expecting a baby at that time. At that time, they were at low income and had nothing to do with the fact that they just came to this country. My parents had to apply for federal sponsored welfare programs so then they can get money to pay for food, get clothing, and apply for health care. And then a year later, they moved to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which my mother and father attended college. And as a result of having a baby, my parents had to drop out of college to find a job to help support their family. And they also did the farmer's market by selling produce in order to make more money. And then during the 90s, my parents had to work double jobs, which was their main job and the farmer's market. By doing so, they sacrificed their schooling in order to support for their family and pay for any other expenses. And then after 33 years of working, my parents still have to work because if they didn't work, there would be no one to help them pay for the bills, help their child's needs, and keep their family stable. The welfare during the 80s and 90s had a great impact to my parents as an adult. Now let's summarize and explain what I said in this speech. To conclude my speech, I had explained how my parents contributed to make our lives better. My parents' contribution was a result of two factors in their lives. These factors were the result of the Vietnam War and welfare during the early 80s and late 90s. Refer back to when I asked you to recall wondering why your parents always had to work and not stay home. Sometimes we have to be thankful for what our parents have done for us in our lifetime. Without them, where would we be?